On today's show, it's the Season 3 Ring of Honor finale. Who are the most random Senators in franchise history?
I'm Jake Sanderson.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller and The Martian for episode number 6 of the Ring of Honor this season, number 28 all time. And we are doing either the best or the worst topic. Today is Friday, August 21st. And Pilsy, you feeling random this morning?
So random. This is going to be a very interesting one. And Martian, I'll throw it to you because this is probably the topic you've been most excited for. And you really put your full stance on, we got to do this.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It's just random, boys. We're just going off the board. We're just going to pick guys kind of randomly. And the players that we choose are guys that probably aren't going to come up in any other Ring of Honor, I'm guessing. So just give a little love to some different names here and maybe just remind people of some of these old players or maybe their current players. Who knows what way we're going to go here. It's going to be an interesting one. I have no idea, Ross, how people are going to be voting for this. You let me know. I think that. What do you think? What do you think people are going to do or say? Or like when they see the list, like, is it just going to be you see names on there and you get a certain feeling and you go, I like that list. It is random.
Well, you know, I'm by the book, and I mean to say record book because this might be the longest stretch of dominance in Ring of Honor history. 5 straight victories. You guys have taken out all advantage because by definition, the word random means something that happens, is done, or is chosen, which is what we're doing here, by chance rather than by a clear plan, rule, or pattern. But you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like guys being dudes at the bar, just naming senators, and it's whoever gives you the highest dopamine hit of remembering a guy who you hadn't thought of in a long time. Now, where it could get interesting is I think there's going to be names that if you mention, you'll get negative points because you'll be like, no, that guy's too well known. Like he's not random. So that's where it could be interesting.
But I have there's a couple different angles. Like one of the angles you can look at is that's a player's name I don't even know of or really think of. He barely played. It's so random that he's getting brought up. Another train of thought is, whoa, this guy played for the Sens. That's random that he played for the Sens. So, and then another one is just weird names. Like that's a random ass name. Like it doesn't matter whether it's, did he play for the Sens? I don't think about him like that's just a weird name. So those are the 3 trains of thoughts that I'm taking a look at with my list.
But we got, like, there's a lot of guys that played 1 game. And I guess
we're doing 10 game minimum.
10 game minimum. But a part of being random is you have to be like known. It's not most unknown Senators.
Right.
I feel like they have to have like, people have to know them.
That is up to your discretion.
Yeah.
Okay. My thought process is you have to know them, but not have thought about them in years. That's kind of where I'm at. But people that's fine. Yeah, people can go whichever definition they want. But I mean, we read you what random is. It's always fun. Like I saw Uncensored on Twitter did this recently. We've done it years ago. Like it's once a year. It comes up every 2. Like just name a random Ottawa Senator. They always get numbers because people are just sitting there thinking about someone they haven't thought of in a decade or 2. So I'm fired up for this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I promised that if I won last week's Ring of Honor, which I did, purest snipers in Ottawa Senators history, just a dominant performance, probably the most dominant performance that we've seen out of me during this streak, that I would not go first. And this is probably the draft that you don't care whether you go first, second, or third. So what we're going to do is Pilsy will be going first.
Okay.
Martian will be going second. And I will finish things off in the first round. And then I'll start the next one with the 3rd and 4th overall picks. We okay with that order, boys?
I'm down with that, but I think we're missing a big opportunity. This would have been the time to do a random number generator or random order. But let's just go under the assumption that you did do that, and this is what happened.
So I've already lost, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. Because you picked a specific order, you're not in the random head zone. And Martian and I should have a clear, at least thinking edge here. This is a Hail Mary play by Martian and I, and thanks to the fans, because this was a fan voted topic. We put 4 topics up on Twitter to vote for.
3.
Well, one of them was other, so you could choose.
So we put
options. Yeah,
we put a random number, whatever number you want.
Yeah, and Martian and I, we just been getting absolutely dusted this year, so we're like, how can we try to throw Ross off? Well, let's just make it random.
But it was awesome too, because we had a couple of comments saying, hey, I listen to the postcast when it goes off the rails. You guys aren't winning this one either.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, like Ross is gonna pull some names out of the hat. We all go, oh my god, that guy, I forgot about him.
Well, I tried. I've got 13 on my list, so I covered my bases. But then once we get to the honorable mentions, I'm sure that a couple more will randomly pop into my head. I think this is a job for Nick Spence. I need a counter on how many times the word random is used during this episode, because it's going to get really
like 6 or 7,
really random. By the way, the citizens did vote. Glad you mentioned that. 41% wanted to see this topic. 29% voted on Sens' most unique goals. The best duos in Senators history was 25%. I bring up the percentages because, boys, that might be closer than most of the voting on the actual Ring of Honors.
And yeah, Ross, I mean, we knew you were going to win last week.
By round 3, we knew.
Yeah, but I think you take out the first round, I still win. Because the whole talk at the end of the show was, you got Danny Heatley, you're going to win. I still think a team of Hoffman, Norris, and Martin Havlat still wins. Anyways, that's the past. I can't live in the past.
Yeah,
I can't live in the past. You can't go into a game and like, oh, I got to shut out last game, I'm going to get another one. No, you have to come prepared. And here we go on the most random Senators in franchise history. Pilsy, you have the honor to name the most random Senator.
First off, as I always like to ask, do you guys have a clear 1-1?
No.
No.
Okay, good. Because if you guys did, then again, you're in the wrong mindset, because it can go here. I did have a guy. I wouldn't call him a clear 1-1, but I had a guy I was hoping I could get. And since I'm going first, I'm on the clock. I will take him here. This is a guy that I feel like when you think of random Sens, everybody loves to bring his name up. It hits a couple categories. It's a weird name, so that's fun. That's random. It's a guy who didn't really play a lot in general, let alone play a lot for the Sens. Double random points. Guys, for the first pick of most random Senators, I'm going with Oleg Saprykin.
Okay. I like that. Oleg Saprykin?
Like when people bring up the obscure Senators or name a Senator, I feel like he's a guy people love to say, people love to bring up. Oleg Saprykin played for the Ottawa Senators in 2006-2007 season. He was acquired at the deadline for that big cup push. He was lighting up with the Phoenix Coyotes. Well, he was having a good year. Lighting up is a little aggressive. 34 points in 59 games. I dialed it back right away. And then he fell off with the Sens. Only had 2 points in 12 games. And then on their way to the Stanley Cup final in 15 games, he also only had 2 points. And then, boys, he called it a career and went back home to Russia to play for the rest of his career. But he was traded to the Sens. Not a very big blockbuster trade. Oleg Saprykin and a 7th rounder in exchange for a 2nd round pick. So that was the Oleg Saprykin legacy in Ottawa.
And he was, I believe, scratch for Game 5 against Buffalo. Although it looks like he missed the first game against Anaheim in the Stanley Cup Finals. But one thing about Oleg Saprykin that you can't take away from him is he scored a game-winning goal in the conference final. One of those 2 points in the playoffs, and I'll never forget the headline in the Ottawa Sun the next morning.
Freaking Saprykin.
Freaking awesome, I believe it was. And it was a picture of him scoring the game-winning goal. It was the first goal, the third period. And it was a tie game, 2-2. Ottawa went up 2-0 in this game. This was game 1 of the conference finals in Buffalo. So it's 2-2 after the second. And then Saprikin scores 7:41 into the third period. Spets adds a power play goal with 4 minutes left. McCammon gets the empty netter to finish it off. So there you go, Oleg Saprikin. I like the pick a lot, Pilsy. It is very random. I did, on my list, stay away from the 07 team. Just because I was like, these guys went further than any team in history. But it is very random. So I like the pick. And that's one that'll bring back good memories because they went far. So maybe my thought process is off there. Martian, you're up.
I love that pick from Pilsy, first of all.
Thanks.
Yeah,
we needed a good pick. We couldn't have had a controversial pick to start a random draft.
Yeah, no, that is random. That's perfect.
That's
Oleg freaking Saprikin. Yeah,
Yeah.
You did that. You did that well, Pilsy.
Thank you.
I'm going with a similar sort of train of thought here. In a way, a guy who didn't play with Ottawa for very long, acquired in the 04 trade deadline. Only ended up playing 23 games with the Ottawa Senators. A very well-known player, known specifically more so as a Washington Capital. But how random is it that a 36-year-old Peter Bondra ends up on the Ottawa Senators and shows up? And this is a guy who was known for scoring 40, 50 goals in his prime. And he was a complete bust here in Ottawa. He did absolutely nothing out there. He didn't have many points in the regular season to finish the year. I don't think he was very happy to be in Ottawa. And then
he should have been, though. We were Team Slovakia back then. He had Hossa and Chara with him as well.
Yeah, and everyone thought on paper that looked like a great deal. And then all of a sudden he shows up and he just looked unmotivated. 0 points in the 7-game series against Toronto where the Sens got eliminated.
Yep.
You name Peter Bondra and nobody's thinking Ottawa Senators. It's just random that he played for them.
Very much. He had the iTech bucket and the visor that went down to the bottom of his lip. It was absolutely absurd. And this was like the opposite for Washington of the Philip Forsberg trade where they traded him as a prospect and they got, I believe, Martin Erat. The guy Ottawa traded for Peter Bondra was Brooks Laich, who went on to play 740 games with the Washington Capitals after 1 game with Ottawa to start his career before that trade. So, not that Brooks Laich was Philip Forsberg, but comparable in terms of you trade away a rental guy and you find a guy who's a core part of your team for the next long time. All right, that's another great pick.
That's who I was deciding between at first pick. Peter Bondra was a guy I was deciding between. I was hoping I could get him later, Marshy. That's a really great pick. That was the first guy I put on my list when I thought of that's so random that he played for the Sens. And
Me
Ross,
too.
can you do me a favor? Can you look up Peter Bondra, Ottawa Senators? Like just Google image. There's a picture of him and Alfie celebrating a goal. And I was like, that is so crazy to see Alfie and Peter Bondra.
Oh, it's one of those I can't post. It's licensable, but people can Google it. And see it.
Yeah.
And Alfie's got the tinted visor on his Jofa helmet. That's the era of Alfie that
great pick,
he was
Marcy.
rocking out there. Dude, I will say there's on Instagram right now a Peter Bondra authentic 03-04 jersey. That would
Kevin
play
Lee.
at the CTC.
Yeah, call Kevin Lee. He'll be
That would play at the CTC. Boys, I went a bit of a different direction here. One, by taking a North American. We've got 2 Euros off the board. Or, Russia's actually in Asia. So we got an Asian and a European off the board. But to me, this one's random too, because this player played over 1,000 games in the National Hockey League, ended his career in Ottawa. And it wasn't like he was an Ottawa guy. He was actually from the area where he played most of his career. This guy was a captain for a long time in 2 places in the NHL. He comes to Ottawa and in 63 games had 1 goal and no assists. Jason Smith is an extremely random Ottawa Senator. And what makes it even more random is he played 1 year with Ottawa, retired, and then became an assistant coach for 2 years with Ottawa, and then just left and was never seen in the NHL again. Jason Smith, very random that he played for the Ottawa Senators. This guy was captain of the Edmonton Oilers when they went to the Stanley Cup final in 2006. He was like a very well-known player, but you do not think of him as an Ottawa Senator despite him playing most of a season with the Sens to end his career.
Yeah, he played a very quiet game, Jason Smith. Like you just mentioned the numbers there. He was just a shutdown D-man out there just doing his business. And actually funny, I met him at the airport too when I used to work there. Just checked him in, got him on his flight, quickly looked at the ID, and I was like, oh, Jason Smith. Love your game. Get on the plane. There you go.
Just a guy you haven't thought of in a long time.
Yeah, he actually did pop into my head during my limited research for this Ring of Honor. It's weird. Yeah, Jason Smith.
Weird. And that was like a weird era of the Sens where they had like Luke Richardson for a bit too. Like just like
whoa, don't name too many names here.
No, that's just one name.
Okay.
You can't take Luke Richardson. That's
not really
he's like an Ottawa guy.
I thought you were going to go into a list of other players on that team.
No, because the list will continue after this. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with everyday games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. The Blue Jays are really working towards getting into the playoffs, and they're going to need some help from the bats to do it. I'm looking at Alejandro Kirk to get a home run in tonight's game up against the New York Yankees. Big one, plus 600 for Kirk to hit a dinger on FanDuel. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play daily dingers. Make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB.
Welcome back, Locked On Senators, your team every day. A reminder, we will be going back to 5 shows a week on September 1st. Actually, I don't know if we've announced that, Pillsy. Announcement! Breaking news. We'll be back to 5 shows a week coming up in 2 weeks' time. It'll actually start on August 31st because Monday is the first day of the week. How random is that, boys? And I'm actually a little upset because my order could have been better. I could have played to what you guys did here, and we could have had a clean first round. I could have started my second round with Jason Smith. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this based on it, but another legend of the game, much like Peter Bondra, but unlike Peter Bondra, when he came to Ottawa, I thought he was all the way back, boys. It was one of the first trades of the rebuild, and I've never been so excited for a 35-year-old to come to Ottawa. Boys, Marian Gaborik played for the Ottawa Senators.
That was the pick. I was literally just Googling and getting ready. That's a good one. And I didn't think you were going to let it slide. So when you took Jason Smith, I was like, oh my God, this actually might get back to me. But yeah, it is wild that a guy of his caliber landed on the Senators to finish his career. Like, unbelievable. And like, boys, he was decent with Ottawa. He had a goal and an assist in his first game, and they were down 1-0 going to the third. He ties the game 5 minutes in, then gets the primary assist with 31 seconds left to tie the game in at the end, and then Hoffman wins it in overtime. I was like, man, is he still a player? I mean, then he went like 8 games without a point, but then he actually finished his 10 games without a point, -6, Sens won 3 games. How are you? But he finished his Senators career with 5 points in his final 5 games. And I was like, dude, bring him back. What the heck do you have to lose? He ultimately retired after that. But like, I was always a huge fan of his. Like some of his OG highlights. Oh, yeah. Some of the nastiest ones ever. It's funny. The one you probably think of most about his highlights, especially Pillsy, because it's a Hasek one. He didn't score, but where Hasek comes out for the poke check at the top of the circle and Gaborik does a full front flip. But to me, that's almost emblematic, too, of the speed this guy had. When he was young, coming in with the Wild, they were such a boring defensive team. And then this guy comes in. He's like, no, man, I'm going to play some exciting hockey. Ultimately wins 2 Stanley Cups or 1? No, I think he was just on one of those LA Kings. But I believe he won the Conn Smythe.
Did he win the Conn Smythe? He led the playoffs in scoring.
He had to have won the Conn Smythe.
He did not.
What?
I don't remember him ever winning a Conn.
I think Jonathan Quick won the Conn Smythe that year.
Okay,
but he was unreal. He had 14 goals and 22 points in 26 games.
He was hot.
Yeah.
Or no, boys, do I have the Marian Gaborik? Oh, okay, sorry, because he was LTIR, because they've got Gaborik playing for Ottawa 2 extra seasons. I was like, but 0 games on Elite Prospect. And then they say 2020, 2021, Tampa.
They traded his rights.
Okay. Oh,
it was like a salary cap thing.
No, for Braden Coburn, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
No spoilers, but that's a random Senator too. All right, Marian Gaborik, my second pick. I wish I could have flipped these two on the graphic, but that's my pick.
Excellent pick.
How many NHL games did Marian Gaborik play? Trivia.
I'm gonna guess he played 940.
More. Now, he did have some injuries throughout his career.
1,100.
If you're counting playoffs, he played over 1,100. 20 seasons. He played 1,035 games, 407 goals. Get this, 408 assists. Almost exactly even. 50-50. There you go. Martian, you're on the clock.
This is crazy, Ross, because there's a lot of parallels between the pick you just made and the pick I'm about to make. Another 35-year-old. This one signed surprisingly in free agency to come to Ottawa. This guy played 20 years in Nashville, and then he shows up in Ottawa, one-hit wonder, 80 games, 9 goals, 18 assists. David Legwand. I mean,
nice.
Does anybody remember David Legwand as an Ottawa Senator? I don't think so. He is a Nashville Predator in my head, and it's just actually it's funny. As you were going through your Gaborik, I was like, is he going to take my guy here? And then all of a sudden, he's still there for me. So I got to take David Legwand here. Nobody remembers him as a Senator. It was completely random that he ended up here. And it was, like I said, a short period of time, but it's just weird to me that David Legwand was a Senator. I actually went off my own board with this one because I was thinking like I could probably get him later, but just seeing the way this is trending with guys who have played long times in other places and then come to Ottawa and then you don't really remember them as a Sen. Yeah. I think I have to take Legwand here because I don't know if Pilsy would have taken him or not, but I want him. So give me David Legwand.
The only reason that I think that's a great pick too is because he was on the Hamburglar run team. So like I feel like that was such like a lovable team of Ottawa Senators that I think it actually could play really well here. David Legwand, Martian's pick here. The thing I remember most about Legwand is he was a throw-in in the Robin Leonard trade to Buffalo that got Ottawa the first round pick where they got Colin White.
There you go.
Yeah, so this draft is not going the way I thought. And Martian, I thought for sure you were taking the guy I'm about to take when you started describing it. But I thought if I started off with Oleg Sabrikin, you guys would do other smaller, lesser-known random people, and these big guys would be later in the draft. It's like when you're doing a fantasy football draft and you expect quarterbacks to go in the mid-round, then someone takes a quarterback early. You're like, okay, well, we're doing quarterbacks now. So I got to get my guy that played a lot of games in the NHL, but randomly played a couple for the Sens. And I don't know about you guys, but in the detailed research that I did for this draft, I found a lot of these random players, they came to the Sens and then they were like, that's it, I'm done. I'm either going to play in Europe, Russia, or I'm retiring. Like there was like 5 or 6 guys that are like this. And Scott Gomez coming to the Ottawa Senators and playing 13 games in the 2015-2016 season, signing as a free agent after the trade deadline because they
just needed bodies.
Yeah, they just needed bodies, and he just wasn't done yet because he played 21 games with the Blues and then 18 with the Hershey Bears that same season. He only had 1 assist in 13 games. Martian, I thought you were going Gomez for sure because you chose him in Sens to have a beer with, and it's like Scott Gomez played 1,079 NHL games and finished his career with 13 with the Sens after the deadline in meaningless games. And on his elite prospects page, the picture of him is in New Jersey, but in the like right hand corner where it's like team you last played for is the 3D Sens logo. So that's just so weird to associate Scott Gomez with the Sens.
I like that pick. I'm sure Marshy loves it. The only thing is like, how random is that? Because we talked about him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I didn't want, like you said, Ross, the past is the past. I didn't want previous Ring of Honors to affect this, because people looking at this, maybe they missed that episode. They're like, oh man, that is so random that Scott Gomez played for the Sens.
Very random. No, it's a very good pick.
I think if this one came before the who would you want to have a beer with Ring of Honor, it would feel way more random, but that shouldn't affect things, Pilsy. It's still pretty random that Scotty Gomez was a Sen.
Yeah, it's a great pick. And this is giving me an idea. And Pilsy will have another pick on the other side. But Pilsy's got Oleg Saprikin and Scott Gomez so far. Martian's got Peter Bondra and David Legwan. And I've got Jason Smith and Marian Gaborik. Third and fourth rounds are on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day. Welcome back, Locked On Senators, your team every day, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Local experts on the biggest stories 5 days a week. As I mentioned, we're back to full-time 2 weeks from now. Next week, we got a great interview planned. Matthew Andonovski, Memorial Cup champion. We're also going to catch up with our friend JD Young from Locked On Sharks because, one, William Eklund, we need to learn about him. And two, over the years, talk about random Senators, the amount of crossover between the Senators and the Sharks is actually outrageous with big names. You think two of the biggest trades in Senators history, Danny Heatley, Erik Karlsson, going to San Jose, all the boatload of players and prospects that came back. Heck, you could say that San Jose is responsible for 4 of potentially the Senators' top 6 forwards. Tim Stützle in the trade, getting the draft pick to take him. Dylan Cousins via Josh Norris, who was drafted by the Sharks, and then Eklund and Fabian Zetterlund, both from the Sharks directly. Very interesting. Looking forward to doing JD. JD's had William Eklund on his show multiple times, so he'll give us some good insight there. And then we'll get into our organizational value rankings, our Sens prospect rankings, and the big storylines. Like, it's go time. The NHL season is coming in quick. Boys, before we get to the third round here, I just added another topic from this for next year. And it's good that there'll be a full season in between, but I feel like our picks so far kind of beg for us to do a draft of outstanding outside Ottawa. Like, I know Pilsy and I, we did that like an OG show, like before YouTube and everything, but guys who played for Ottawa, but were way better somewhere else. I think that could be a fun one to do, because I'm going a different direction for my third and fourth round picks. But Pilsy, you're going to set the tone here in the later rounds of the draft.
Yeah, so I've got a couple different ideas here, because I know the guy I want to pick last will make it back to me. So I got to really make this one count. And I think this one is similar to Oleg Saprikin. When you think random Sens and you're just tossing dudes out there, I think it's a fun name to say. There's a fun backstory. I'm going Brandon Buchenski on this one. The mayor of Grand Forks.
Yep.
He was drafted in the 7th round by the Sens, 223rd overall in 2001. He played in Nodak, so that he started the Nodak Sens, or at least was one of the early iterations of it. And he only played 20 games with the Sens. He played a season in bingo in 05-06. He got his 20 games, 13 points in 20 games, not bad. And then kind of bounced around and then finished his career. He played from 2010 to 2019 in Baris Astana in Kazakhstan in the KHL, even captained them his last couple of years playing there. So I'm going to go with Brandon Buchenski as a random Ottawa Senator.
Very random, but I think like preseason was where Brandon Buchenski made his hay, right? He was on a line with Heatley and Spezza, and everyone was like, oh my goodness.
I feel like he had like 10 goals in that preseason.
It was insane. Like, I don't think you can even find it. Like, somebody find the 2005, 2006 preseason stats for the Ottawa Senators, because my goodness, Brandon Buchenski was an absolute dog. The storyline that's came out years after, and like him being the mayor of Grand Forks while Ottawa had all their prospects there, like, that is as random as it gets. That's never happened in NHL history. I'll tell you that, where a team has a number of prospects playing in a random town in like rural United States, and the mayor was like a cult hero for a preseason 20 years earlier. Very random, great pick. Marshy, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm just quickly on the Bochenski one. That is super random. Like that just goes to show you, Ross, that the world does revolve around the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sticking on the same trend here. This one reminds me a lot of your last pick, Ross, the Marian Gaborik pick, but it was pretty random in 2014 at the trade deadline when the Sens traded a 5th and a 3rd for Ales Hemsky, who only played in Ottawa for 20 games. Scored 4 goals with the Sens, but I think one of those goals might have been one of the most beautiful goals
I was there.
an Ottawa Senator has ever scored. Ales Hemsky still had the wheels at that time. A lot of skill there. And again, just because it's such a flash in the pan pick, 20 games as a Sen, nobody really thinks of Ales Hemsky as an Ottawa Senator. So I'm going to go ahead and snag him here. Ales Hemsky is my 3rd round pick.
Yeah, that goal was literally insane. And a lot of his points, like he had a great points per game, but a lot of them were assists. And interestingly enough, you got to wonder what would have happened if Spezza didn't get traded, because those two had instant chemistry. And then Hemsky ended up signing in Dallas where Spezza had gotten traded.
He publicly said, I wanted to go to Ottawa to play with Spezza. And then when Spezza left, he's like, I want to play with Spezza.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. That's a great pick.
I like it.
Oh man, I got a few. A part of me wants to go with like some old school names, but like I don't know if that's gonna play with the young crowd. That's
it's hard. Yeah, you got to balance that, Ross. Like
I'll go a little bit more recent, and just like another random one where I was like very like not upset, but I was like, what? Why are we getting this guy? Like we don't want former Habs on this team. But then he ends up playing a pretty decent role, very limited, but helps Ottawa beat the Habs in the playoffs in his only season in Ottawa. Guys, Guillaume Latendresse is a very random Ottawa Senator.
Yeah, that name didn't even come near my radar for this, so I guess that makes it a good pick.
27 games with Ottawa, 10 points, but then in the playoffs, he played 3 games and had a goal and an assist to help Ottawa beat the Montreal Canadiens.
That's a good one, Ross. I remember when the Sens got him, I was like, clutch pickup. Like I was fired up about Guillaume Latendresse.
His first game in the playoffs, it was game 1, and he scored the Mark Mathot, our boy, scored the game winner 5 minutes into the 3rd period. This was the game where everyone remembers Eric Greiba, player 62, and Lars Eller. That game was 2-1 Montreal going to the 3rd period. Silfverberg, then Mathot in less than 2 minutes, but Ottawa's still only up 1. The Habs are pressing. And Guillaume Latendresse with 8 minutes left from Silfverberg and Zibanejad. Like top 6 role right there for Latendresse. He must have gotten hurt because he only played 2 more playoff games that season for Ottawa. But funny enough, it was like he played game 1 and 2. So yeah, he must have been played 1 and 2 against Montreal. And by the way, those games, according to Hockey Reference, were back-to-back. Why the hell are you playing back-to-back games in the playoffs? May 2nd, May 3rd.
Weird.
Very weird. And then he didn't play again until the Pittsburgh series in round 2. But yeah, extremely random Ottawa Senator, Guillaume Latendresse.
Fun name, too.
Fun name, and yeah, I just remember him getting a lot done out there considering he could barely move. So
he could barely move. This was like the first name that came into my head when we were doing this. He played 26 games in Ottawa and like an extremely forgettable Senator. But my 4th round pick, it's a vanity pick for me. David Derzinski. Remember him?
I don't remember him.
I'm pretty sure his most memorable moment in the NHL is getting knocked out cold by, I believe, Fraser McLaren.
Yeah.
In a Sens Leafs game. But David Derzinski, why I want to bring him up, 1, in his first pro season, he won the Calder Cup with the Binghamton Senators, rather. But that's a Freudian slip because his career started in Binghamton. It actually ended in Kansas City in the ECHL. But if you're going AHL and NHL, it ended in Belleville. He played 9 games for Belleville in 2017-18, randomly. And what's also strange about Dave Derzinski, and hey, credit to him for his stick-to-itiveness, he played 12 NHL games with Ottawa in the 2012-2013 season. And then he had to wait until 2015-16 to get another opportunity. It like, that's a story of determination and sticking with it, not getting a call up for 2 full years after you get your first chance, and then finding a way to get back in the lineup. David Derzinski is as random as they come.
Very random. I feel like the one time he got called up, it was like they were riddled with injuries and he wouldn't even come close to getting a sniff. But then he was just the next guy up on the depth chart or something like that. But yeah,
it was Fraser McLaren. That's trigger warning for that fight.
Yeah.
I'm watching it right now.
Oh no, I remember it was. Yeah,
he had the Sens number though.
Yes,
it was on the button.
Yeah, he's rocked.
He is unresponsive on that.
No, he is not awake.
And like Fraser McLaren's not even celebrating the fight. Like he feels
bad. That's like one of those ones you connect so well, and you got to call the trainers right away because just like, oh, I got him good.
McLaren was a mutant, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Remember they had him and Colton Orr at the same time, and you're like,
yeah,
you guys even want to play hockey? Like, do you care?
Terrifying.
Crazy. All right, who do you got, Marshy?
Oh man, I have so many fun things. Like honorable mentions for this is going to be a lot of fun, so stick around for that for sure. But this is a totally different strategy than what I've been going with, and I could stick to the same strategy and pick a guy that I think would play really well in the graphic. But I just really want to talk about this guy, and so I'm going to go ahead and pick him. He actually played 315 games as an Ottawa Senator. So it's a little bit of a risky one because people are like, that's not really that random. But I mean, he just looks like one of those guys where if you go on NHL, EA Sports and randomly generate a player, this is what you're going to end up with is a guy like Peter Schaefer. I mean, the listen to the tape job on this guy. Do you remember the tape job?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, talk about a random tape job. And the curve on the stick. I mean, it was just ridiculous. The Sens got him in a trade where they sent Sammy Salo to Vancouver. Kind of a big trade at the time. Schaefer was kind of like seemed like he was sort of an up-and-coming guy, and he stuck around for a while. And I just feel like Schaefer with the oversized jersey and the eagle gloves and a little bit of swagger that he brought, he was so matched for years. Like, who does that? That's just random. So I'm going to go with Peter Schaefer here for my last pick.
Yeah, and I think there were some expectations when he got traded because Sammy Salo went the other way, and Sammy Salo was a beloved player in Ottawa for a long time. So, yeah, no, his curve, like, that's worth
insane.
Like, there's like close-ups of it on Google Images because it's the most ridiculous thing. I don't know how he shot the puck. Like, he had no backhand on that thing.
No.
It was, but he was gritty in the corners. And look, we said Sen's most unique goals. He would probably be the 1-1 pick for that. Go search up his goal against Dallas. Maybe one of the most insane goals I've ever seen.
Yeah, the one where he flipped it over was it Turco came out of the net during that, or what?
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, maybe Mike Smith, just the way he was coming out of the net like that.
Turco played that way too.
Over that too.
Yeah. It was, where do we got it here? It was January of 2004, and it was over Marty Turco, and it was shorthanded too. This is where I wish we could play videos. It's such a shame that we can't. And I wish the NHL would work on the marketing on that, and he gets it with his backhand touch right at the end.
Oh yeah. Also,
no visor too.
That's what I was gonna say. It's shocking to me that he didn't wear a visor at all during his career.
Yeah, and he was always in the corners too. He was a big in the corners guy.
Yeah, maybe that's why that curve.
Honestly, that curve might have helped him score that goal with the angle of it. Yeah, insane. All right, great pick. Pillsy, wrap this draft up.
That's a good one. I was a big Peter Schaefer fan. Like I legitimately was excited about him because you never know what that guy was going to do.
Double number guy with Ottawa because he gave up 15 for Heatley when Heatley came in. I think he moved to 27 after that.
Right.
There you go.
For the final pick of this draft, I don't know how this one's going to play on the graphic. I don't know if anyone's going to know it, but going for.
I took David Derzinski.
But Martian was excited about that one.
It's so funny. Ross has picked 2 guys that I've met. Dave Derzinski one time at Crazy Horse ran into me, and I think I told you guys that story off the air. But
were you down for a bit? Because that's a big boy.
Oh no, I was like probably the only person in the bar who knew who he was. So I walked up to him like, Dave Derzinski. He's like, hey, what's going on?
And he had a Sharpie in his back pocket.
Super nice guy, man.
Yeah, I bet. I think he's from Lloydminster, man. Those Western boys, all good.
Yeah, we ended up chatting for like a good probably half an hour, and I think I introduced him to some lady friends, and yeah, that was it. But Dave Derzinski, man, classic.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to spread it around with mine. I talked to you guys how I wanted a name where you just say it and you're like, oh yeah, that guy. That was my Oleg Saprikin. Scotty Gomez, random that he plays for the Sens, finishes his career. Brandon Bochenski, random that he's a mayor in the town where a bunch of Sens prospects came from. So now this one, I'm going with just a name that's fun to say, and I wish I knew more about this guy, but it's
I already
random.
have it written down.
No, you definitely don't.
I think I do.
Darren Rumble.
I did not have that written down.
Darren Rumble, boys. That was an Ottawa Senator. He was the second defenseman selected in the 1992 expansion draft. This guy, I wish they hits were available as stats, because I assume he got a bunch of them. In 93-94, he finished with 116 penalty minutes, a dash 50, minus 50, 15 points. They don't have his size, but he looks like a big dude based on his pictures. And he's from Barrie, Ontario, my neck of the woods.
That's why you picked him.
And just what a name, Darren Rumble as a defenseman. Here comes Rumble. And just absolutely lays a guy out. He was coaching in Owen Sound a little while ago, 23-24. And then 24-25, head coach at Universal College Gatineau.
Oui. He was an assistant coach for the Gatineau Olympiques as recently as 3 years ago.
Yeah. When I came across Darren Rumble and I deduced that he was a big shutdown physical defenseman from the expansion draft, I was like, that's a good handle. Like, I'm sure
you remember fondly when he won best defenseman in the AHL in 1996-97.
Yeah.
And his reward for that was going to play in the DEL for 21 games the next year.
And how many dudes got to play for the Prince Edward Island Senators? Like, that's sick. Dude, the PEI Senators.
How many Senators got to play for the New Haven Senators? I believe they only had that as their farm team in their inaugural season. He played 2 games there.
Oh, I didn't even realize that at first. The New Haven Senators.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Pilsy, we're locked on Senators. I have never heard of the New Haven Senators ever.
Yeah.
One last thing, just this is my immediate analysis. Like, he was a first round pick, 20th overall, and that might be the last pick in the first round back in 1987 when he was picked. But boys, get this. He played 193 NHL games. His first game was in 1990 and his last game was in 2004. That's gritting out 193 NHL games. And it was like a couple here, like, and then he went from 1997 to 2000 without playing an NHL game. And then 12 games the next year, 19, the next year, 5. Like, that's a gritty career.
You would expect nothing less from Darren Rumble.
Dude, he's doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah. I had written down Jyrki Jokipakka when you were starting.
I thought about Jyrki.
I don't think he hit 10 games.
I don't think he did either. That's why he didn't make it on my list.
All right, let's read our list because this goes perfectly into honorable mentions. Pilsy, you had the first overall pick.
My team of most random Senators is Oleg Saprikin, Scotty Gomez, Brandon Bochenski, and Darren Rumble.
Marshy, you went second.
I've got Peter Bondra, David Legwand, Alish Hemsky, and Peter Schaefer.
And I got Jason Smith, Marian Gaborik, Guillaume Latendresse, and David Derzinski. Those are our most random Senators, but this clearly could go a bajillion different ways. So let us know in the comments who we missed. Who are the most random Senators that we did not have there? The poll will go live this afternoon, and you can vote which team has the most random Senators. I'm going to start out honorable mentions with a guy that unfortunately didn't qualify to our 10-game list, but I really want to take him in the 4th round. Michael Haley, because he is the answer to a trivia question. Michael Haley, who had a long career as a fighter in the NHL, like a bunch of different places. Islanders probably where he's most well known. He's the last player to play a game for the Senators without a visor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. And it was so weird when they got him. It's like, it was like when we talked about with Toronto, where it's like, are you guys even trying to play or are you just going to try to beat everybody up? And he got into 4 games with Ottawa, but some honorable mentions that would have qualified. Who do you got?
Well, I changed my Pilsy. I changed my strategy for this draft. Like I called an audible mid draft because I realized it was a bad idea. I was gonna take all Peters. I was gonna take Peter Schaefer, Peter Bondra, Peter Schatzlevy, and Peter Regan.
Nice, dude. I wear Peter Regan's gloves. I got them at his hockey sale in like 2009. I still wear them in beer league.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, one guy, like I was a ringer for a team, and one guy leaned down and like he didn't know who I was. He's like, "Hey Regan, next shift," because he just looked at my gloves and it says Regan on it. It's like, that's not me, fella. That's a Swiss legend. Speaking of Swiss, how about Roman Wick as
random? Yeah, he only played 7 games though, so
I know. Some guys that qualified. Chris Campoli. I wanted to say that he was random, but I didn't have anything like about him. Like it was
Chris Campoli. Fun fact: he's the only player in the NHL to score 2 OT winning goals in the same game. When he played for the Islanders, he took a slap shot from the point, and it went through the net, and they didn't realize, and play continued, and it got back to him, and he shot it again, and he scored again, and that one counted because it didn't go through the net. But nobody realized that he scored a goal, and it continued on, and he scored again.
Martian, you might not be fully right.
Somebody else did that.
Wrinkle against the Sens. Who?
No, he missed the penalty shot. It was.
If you would have scored it.
Yeah, it was Eric Robinson, I believe, or someone else scored the goal that was disallowed. No,
but then they scored the actual one later, didn't they?
Oh wait, no, because Martin took the penalty shot because he was the guy that scored.
But then didn't he actually score the game winner?
He did. He did.
Oh, you're right. But okay, so to bring it back, at the time when he was acquired, he was the only player who scored.
The fact that happened against Ottawa this year is tough.
This literally just happened.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I should remember. I remember when that happened. I go, well, there goes Chris Campoli's record.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Another one, David Hale. And one of the reasons why I remember him is we actually spoke to the David Hale that I know outside the CTC, Pillsy, before Game 3. We had a great chat with him and his lady. But like I knew him in elementary school, and then we got a guy with his exact first name and last name. I was like, David Hale. Same spelling. Yeah, that's exactly. And funny enough, he was technically an OG Nodak Sen, went to North Dakota, played for the Senators. So have him on. Sergei Zholtok as another random Senator.
I have no idea.
Back in the 90s. Maybe less random, but maybe this would play. Vinny Prospal I had as that's
a good one.
As a potential one. Jody Hull I had on my list. 2-time Ottawa Senator. Nice. Left and then came back. Josh Langfeld at one point I believe was one of the Sens top prospects. That was kind of where they didn't really have a prospect system very well. And the last name on mine, Steve Martins. Remember that guy? He was a journeyman. He was all over the place. And if you want to go with journeyman, who was the guy that got traded a bajillion times?
Cole Sillinger.
Cole Sillinger.
Or Matt Cullen. I thought about taking either one of those guys.
Not Cole Sillinger.
It was Mike
Sillinger, Cole's dad.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Mike Sillinger. Yeah.
Mike Sillinger. How many times did Mike Sillinger get traded?
He played for so many teams.
He played for 15 teams.
Mike Sillinger holds the NHL record for being traded the most times. Can you guess how many? He also holds the record for playing with the most franchise. Played 17 years in the NHL. That's your hint.
8 trades and 13 teams.
I'm gonna say higher. I'm gonna say he was traded over 10 times. I'm gonna say
nope.
Oh no.
Pilsy's closer. You said traded 12 times?
Yeah.
I said
he played on 12.
8 trades, 13 teams is my guess.
So you're wrong on both of them, Pilsy, but you're wrong by 1 in the wrong direction in both of them. He was traded 9 times, not 8, and he played for 12 teams, not 13.
Okay.
That's wild. Yeah. There was only like 24 teams when he played. And he played for 12?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That guy's got to have a
Mike
big
Sillinger talk for one episode.
I know, but he's got to have a big rec room for all those jerseys because you'd have to hang every single one.
You got that, especially when you have the record for it. You got it.
Any others?
Pilsy's got a ton, I'm sure.
I got a bunch of other ones, but I thought about Brian Gibbons. That's just a classic one. He came and I think it was like 14 points in 20 games. Like he just lit it up quickly. One that I thought would play with you, Ross, Max Verono.
Yes.
When he came, we were like, well, this is a sneaky good pickup. Like this is a guy that maybe could sneak into a bottom 6 role. One guy I love this. I thought about taking him for a fun name, Jake Lucchini. Good dude from Trail, BC, Jake Lucchini. He's the guy.
Yeah, go for it.
He's the guy that Timmy famously said, yeah, he's a good kid. Jake Lucchini was 27 years old. I believe Tim Stützle was 22 at the time. He's a good
We brought
kid,
that up with
Lucchini.
Timmy, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the last
Yeah, because
time
you guys interviewed him shortly after that, right?
It was very funny. Do you know that Brian Gibbons has the most points per 60 minutes, minimum 10 games in Sens history?
Yeah, it's crazy what he was able to do. Tommy Wingles was another one.
Wingles is a great one. Can I just read off this top? I'll do the top 10 because it gets more normal after that. Minimum 10 games, points per 60. Brian Gibbons is number 1. Here's a name that would have played too. Jace Howerluck, 11 games.
I thought about Jace Howerluck too.
Alish Hemsky 3, Stephen Halliday 4, Jason Spezza 5, then Matt Duchesne, Mark Stone, Vladimir Tarasenko, Anthony Duclair, Trady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, and then Warren Fogle is 12. Interesting.
Fogle puts up points.
Keep that going.
Some random Senators on that list, though.
I had a couple other ones. Boris Tkachuk.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Remember, Ross, we got really into in Winnipeg, just telling everyone in the crowd, you can't stop Boris. You can only hope to contain him. And everyone's like, what are you guys talking about?
Yep. How about Julian Gauthier?
Yeah. I had high hopes for him. He was a big body with good speed.
Mikhail Bodker.
Yeah, but that's one that would play so badly on the graphic.
We should do Senators you hope you can forget, because that would be up there for us. How about Stéphane DaCosta from France?
Yep.
Dude, he is a KHL legitimate legend.
Yeah.
Rob Klinkhammer.
Good. I got 2 last ones because we could literally rip this all day.
I got one I got to mention at the end, Ross. Okay. I got one more I need to
You guys like Bobby Butler?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. Good alliteration name.
And the last one that I'll throw out here is the Artie Party, Artem Anisimov.
Very random. Okay, here's by far the most random. This wouldn't have played on the graphic at all, but like you have to look this guy up because I didn't even know he existed. Jim Pake played 27 games, I think 27 or 29 games with Ottawa. He's from Seoul, South Korea. He's a South Korean. He looks like he was built in a South Korean lab when they discovered hockey was a sport, and they're like, we got to get into this. This guy was like pretty big defenseman from South Korea. How random is that? And then he ended up like being an assistant coach in Grand Rapids for like 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, one of only 2 NHL players to be born in South Korea.
Cool.
Yeah, I just when I found, because I was just clicking through names, just looking at guys, right? Because I wanted to see what they look like, because all those old headshots are hilarious. And then he popped up. I'm like, whoa, that's not what I was expecting Jim Pake to look like. But yeah,
he was the first, and Richard Park was the second. Richard Park played 730 games. Yeah. Jim Pake played 217, Pittsburgh, LA, and Ottawa.
2-time Cup champ too.
Yeah, with Pitt. Wow, interesting. That's a perfect one to end off on, because that was extremely random. Have a vote in the poll on Twitter at Sens Central. Make sure you're following at Leems Martian as well. Monday, we're back. We've got another great week, and then we turn our attention to the organizational value rankings. Last thing I got to say is shout out to the Martian. Thank you so much for joining us this summer, man. We know that you're a hibernation guy in the summer, but hey, knock, knock. Hockey season's around the corner. It's been a lot of fun, man. We always appreciate you.
I love doing them, boys. It's always a lot of fun. And it's the opposite of hibernation, Ross. I'm out and about in the summer times. But it's fun. It's fun to take some time to do these.
Postcast coming soon. Can't wait for it. And we'll get you on for a season preview, because you've been reminiscing on the nostalgia with us a ton, but we got to get your takes on the Senators going on. We got to get a show where we get Marshy and Jack on, like a little get the whistle wet here before the postcast season gets rolling. Pillsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
Going into this, I was like, okay, we're going to do 30, 35 minutes tops on random centers. Like how in depth can we get? And we're at now,
the longest 55.
One. It's the longest one. good one for the finale, because there's no, like, none of us were really like, oh, what are you doing with that pick? Bad pick. It didn't get contentious. This was a good one that Marsh and I needed, just to be like, remember, Ring of Honor is fun. It's supposed to be fun. Ross is dominating, but we can still have some fun here. So this would have been the only topic I would have come back for. I was going to boycott the Ring of Honor unless we had a topic where it was fun, just snapping it back with the boys. So this is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ross, if you win this one, it was random.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
No. There's no advantage to anyone. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and the vote should represent that. What I would love, and to Pilsey's point, let's make the voting on this 33.33333% for everybody. Like, imagine how random that would be. That'd be so random. This has been a lot of fun, and we're already looking forward to next Ring of Honor season. We do have a document where we keep topics, so don't think that because season is ending today that we're not going to take your ideas. So we're going to take those in the comments on YouTube. You can always tweet them at us, DM us. We've got a few great DMs. I still have to get back to you guys, but I have been noticing. We had a great one in the Instagram DMs, best single season Ottawa Senators, guys who only played for the team for 1 year. Any topic do you think of? No bad ideas. They can be random. We always love them. All right, for today, we say goodbye. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll chat on Monday. For the Martian and Pilsy, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.